The Cafe on the Edge of the World isn't just a book. It's a mandatory pit stop for anyone who looks successful on the outside, but feels a strange, persistent void on the inside. It's for those of us who spent years climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Imagine suddenly finding yourself standing in front of a tiny cafe in the middle of nowhere. You open the menu, but instead of food, you find three questions that could flip your entire life upside down. That's exactly what happened to John, a high-flying advertising executive who got lost on his way to a business trip. After running out of gas, he stumbled upon a strange, mysterious cafe sitting at the edge of the world. The moment he opened the menu, three deep questions stared back at him. Why are you here? Do you fear death? Are you fulfilled? John Strelecky's novel became a global phenomenon, translated into over 40 languages, because it touches something deep within all of us, the yearning to find meaning and purpose. This unexpected detour forced the protagonist, and will force you as a reader to face yourself. Are you truly living the life you actually want? This book is for anyone who feels unhappy despite being successful on paper. It's for the people who, their way up the corporate ladder, only to realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. It's for the parents who gave everything to their kids and are now asking, but where am I in all of this? In short, this book is for anyone who has decided to stop living on autopilot and wants to start living with intention, choice, and a purpose that actually fits them. You're living on autopilot. John was a successful exec, but despite his achievements, he felt a massive void inside. He worked long hours and made good money, yet he was never satisfied. He was living on autopilot, following a script he didn't even write. Research on autopilot behavior suggests that nearly half of our daily actions are just repeated habits, not conscious decisions. Many of us are just like John. We're living lives we didn't really choose. We inherited our goals from society, our parents, and those around us, rarely asking, is this actually what I want? The result? We become paper-thin, successes technically winning, but mentally burnt out and dimmed down. The cafe teaches us that the first step toward change is awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. When you start noticing the moments where you're moving like a robot, you open the door to conscious choice. Of course, this awareness is uncomfortable at first because it reveals the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. Practical application. For 1 week, write down everything you do simply because you feel obligated or because it's a duty, rather than because you actually want to do it. Which activities drain your energy and exhaust you? Which activities give you energy and refresh you? The simple act of becoming aware is the first step toward grabbing the steering wheel of your life again. The forced stop is actually a gift. John didn't plan on getting lost, and he certainly didn't plan on his car breaking down after running out of gas. But that unplanned moment was exactly what changed his life. It ripped him out of his daily grind and gave him something he hadn't had in years: time to think. Most of us need these forced pit stops, like losing a job, a health scare, or a breakup, to finally wake up from the autopilot that's been driving us. These moments are painful, sure, but they are incredibly powerful catalysts for change. The book suggests that we shouldn't wait for a catastrophe to take a breather. We can choose to step off the hamster wheel ourselves. The cafe represents that sacred space where we step outside our patterns to ask the big questions. In our modern world, we're programmed to stay busy, keep moving, and run away from being alone with our thoughts. But the truth is, wisdom only shows up in the stillness. Practical application. Schedule a purposeful pause this week. It could be a 30-minute walk without your phone, a quiet morning session with your journal, or even a solo weekend trip. The goal is to create intentional space to check in with yourself. The first question, why are you here? The first question on the cafe's menu is, why are you here? And no, it's not asking about your GPS coordinates. It's asking about your purpose for existing, PFE. The reality is that most of us have never carved out the time to answer this. We know our job titles and our responsibilities by heart, but we have no clue what our why is. Discovering your purpose is the most important work you will ever do. This question cuts through the noise and forces you to face what actually matters. It's an uncomfortable, nagging question, which is exactly why most of us have been running from it for years. We fill our lives with distractions, work, social media, endless entertainment just to escape the heavy weight of that question. But the cafe forced John to sit with it. And that's when he began to see his life with brand new clarity. Your purpose isn't something you invent. It's something you discover because it's already inside you. Practical application. Set a timer for 15 minutes and answer the question, why am I here? Using stream of consciousness writing. Just write whatever pops into your head without overthinking or editing. Don't hit the brakes. The first things that come out are usually the most honest and revealing. The second question, do you fear death? The second question is, do you fear death? But what it's really asking about is time. Mostly, the fear of death is actually a fear of never having truly lived. When you live a life aligned with your purpose, that fear starts to fade because you're squeezing the juice out of every single moment. This question is a wake-up call to stop procrastinating on your dreams. The cafe teaches us that death isn't the enemy, a wasted life is. When we live on autopilot, we trade our limited time for things that don't even matter to us. We spend decades climbing a ladder, only to find it was leaning against the wrong wall. Consider the fear of death your alarm clock. It reminds us that our days are numbered, and every day we delay living our truth is a day we'll never get back. Practical application. Imagine you're at the end of your life looking back. What are the things you'll regret not doing? Make a no regrets list. Now, pick just one thing from that list and take the smallest possible step toward it today. The power of PFE, your secret to existing. Your PFE, purpose for existing, is your personal compass. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the thing that makes you feel alive. It's not just a job title. It's a deep sense of purpose that guides your choices. Once you have a clear vision of your PFE, decision-making becomes so much easier. You simply ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? If the answer is no, you don't do it. This clarity breaks you out of the prison of other people's expectations. It gives you the power to say no to distractions and a big yes to what actually serves your soul. Practical application. Draft a short, catchy purpose statement that summarizes why you're here. For example, my purpose is to spark creativity and courage in those around me. Write it down and put it somewhere you'll see it every single day. The myth of someday. So many of us, in a state of permanent waiting. We tell ourselves we'll follow our passions someday when we have more time, more money, or feel more secure. But research on the top regrets of the dying shows that the most common one is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. The book argues that someday is a dangerous myth. It's just a fancy word for procrastination. The truth is, you're spending your time and energy on something anyway. The question is, are you spending them on things that actually matter? Every day is a choice. If we spend it on things we don't care about, we're selling our lives for a price we didn't even agree to. The perfect time to start doesn't exist. The time is now. Practical application. Identify one thing you've been pushing off until someday. Break it down into the smallest possible step you can take today. Want to start a YouTube channel? Record a 1-minute clip on your phone. Want to travel? Look up ticket prices. Just move the needle, no matter how small the move. The 7-day experiment. The book suggests a simple but magical experiment to start living a more meaningful life. For the next 7 days, dedicate just 30 minutes every day to an activity that aligns with your purpose, your PFE. It could be anything, from painting or going for a walk to volunteering for a cause you love. This experiment proves that living a purposeful life isn't some far-off dream. It's just a series of small daily choices. The beauty of this 7-day challenge is that it's low risk, but offers a massive reward. You aren't committing to a radical life overhaul overnight. You're just test driving what it feels like to prioritize your purpose for 1 week. Most people who try this realize something life-changing. They actually do have time for what matters. The whole game is about priorities. Practical application. Pick your 7-day experiment today. What's the one activity that makes you feel most alive? Carve out 30 minutes for it every day next week. Treat this time as sacred and non-negotiable. At the end of the week, check in with yourself. How did it feel? Do you want to keep going? And that's a wrap! Whether you're feeling stuck on autopilot or searching for your why, remember that the cafe is always waiting at the edge of your world. All you have to do is stop and listen. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this touched something inside you, don't forget to like and share. Stay tuned for our next video where we'll dive even deeper into ways to reclaim your life. See you then.